Hello everyone. We all hear about the term that the richest 1% own more wealth than the bottom 95%. Some call it the Great Divide, but most of us call it the Great Inequality. It's time to address the elephant in the house for the struggling masses. I am Humayun Ali, and in this video, I am discussing the ever-growing phenomena of income inequality and wealth distribution. It is a problem that affects all of us, regardless of where we live or who we are. It's called the Great Divide, a stark disparity between the 1% of the richest people and the 99% of the poorest. This gap has been growing in recent years, and it's not just a problem for wealthy nations. Income inequality is an issue worldwide. Studies show that the most extreme form of wealth inequality is found in developing countries, whereas access to the education and healthcare is limited for those at the bottom of the income ladder. This lack of access means that people at the top are becoming even wealthier, while those at the bottom still need to improve and rise above their current level. The solution is not easy, but it begins with tackling existing systems that perpetuate inequality, like tax policies and regulations that favor the wealthy. Furthermore, governments must invest more in public services such as education and healthcare. These services provide pathways for those at the bottom to rise up and create a fairer society. I remember a time when I was a kid and I just wanted to have an opportunity to make something of myself. Our current system makes it hard for people with fewer resources to succeed. Still, if we take steps addressing inequality, we can create a fairer society that allows everyone to reach their potential. What in my opinion can help reduce this massive gap can be through taking the following steps. These steps are just my own personal opinion. First step, according to my opinion, is access to education across all forms of society. Education and justice is the foundation of a society. Education does not only mean you read and pass some exams, but instead start thinking about what's right and what's wrong. Education makes you aware of the basic human rights. I see now it's only a process to secure a job or get a visa for some stronger settled country. We need to shift this paradigm from just having a job, but to have a sane and intellectual mind. Now, the second step is access to justice across all forms of society, which I see in some countries have championed themselves in. They need to help developing countries to establish a good and sound justice system. Because I see a convicted person or a criminal in his or her home country, but a reputable citizen, or I say a businessman, in another. This needs to change, and this needs to be addressed. We need to form a fairer accountability system across the world so that this may not happen. If a person is convicted or a criminal back in their home country, they should be accounted for, and there should be a single justice system across the world. Now the third point is, it's a very common point that we all talk about right now. Since the world is going into a recession and we are facing price inflations across the world, we need to start working on wealth taxes rather than increasing income taxes. I'm not going to go into detail of wealth taxes and the last reform that was done on wealth taxes. So I think governments and world leaders should now address wealth taxes and try to bring them accountable for what they have done to the society. Now, my other point of view is we need to subsidize and incentivize the farmers. We need to introduce modern education system and technology in agricultural countries, since the world needs to feed. We need to provide them innovative education programs and scholarships so that we have more advanced technology and modern scientists in the field of agriculture. My last point of view is, or my opinion is, we are in a dire need of uplifting the minimum wage to a living wage. I call it a living wage because it helps people survive and in fact live in a society of equality. The concept of minimum wage needs to be evolved and living wage needs to be introduced. The exceeding amount of wealth culminating at the top, in my opinion, needs to be sealed. The world does not need the number 1 billionaire or number 2 wealthiest person. The world does not distress at all. I say it's a gimmick just to announce the untouchables or failures of the economic system. Now these are some basic steps, or I say baby steps, which a society or a nation can take. It's a long way, small step, but unnecessary one.